Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are doing well. I have a few announcements regarding the worship opportunities that Whiteman United Methodist Church in Prosperity, South Carolina has planned for next week, which is Holy Week. But before I make those announcements, I want to take the time, a quick moment to talk about something that is very, very significant. And that is last year during this time, the church did not meet for in-person worship. We did not gather together in person. And I fully realized that of the situation of the pandemic, and many churches were in the practice of recording their worship services or just a sermon and then uploading them online for their congregations to view. And since then, we've had things like Facebook Live and YouTube Live so that people could enjoy and gather together in their space for worship. But I think we all can say it's not the same, right? And it is significant. Something significant happens when God's people gather together to worship. I believe that we are strengthened. I believe that we are nourished. I believe that we are transformed so that we can go out into the world and transform the world for Jesus the Christ. And that is significant because if you look back in hindsight, and this is an observation that I believe is true, that because the church did not meet, all right, and we did not meet for Easter, well, look what happened out in the streets. All right, there was disorder, there was chaos, and you can look back in the news and you can see that, and it was not a good time. All right, and that I think it just lines up. The church didn't meet. Now look what happens. Well, this year we are going to meet. All right, and I think we are going to meet, and I think we're going to be transformed. We're going to gather together, and we're going to worship God, and it is going to be good. And I want you to know this: God desires your worship. I'm going to say that again. God desires your worship. Isn't that so wonderful? So the question becomes this: knowing that God desires your worship, do you desire to worship God? Now, with that in mind, let's talk about the events that Whiteman United Methodist Church has for Holy Week next week and on Easter morning, Sunday morning, that wonderful morning. Well, it begins on Thursday, which is Maundy Thursday, and we are holding a worship service that will be at 7 p.m. in the Whiteman Sanctuary. During that service, we will be holding communion, and there will be a stripping of the altar following that. That brings us to the second worship opportunity, which will be the following day on Good Friday, and that will be at 12 o'clock noon on the walking track, which is on the Whiteman United Methodist Church premises in Prosperity, South Carolina. We're going to gather together, and it's going to be a time of reflection. A time of reflection. So please attend that service as well. That's two opportunities. And this brings us to Easter, Sunday morning. And the first service that we will be having is the sunrise service, which will be at 7 a.m. on the Whiteman premises. All right. That will be followed by a breakfast in the Christian Life Center, the CLC. And then at 9 o'clock, we will be holding the worship service in the sanctuary. Typically, that is the traditional worship service. And then at 11:15, there will be another worship service in the CLC, and that is typically our modern worship service. So knowing all that, these are wonderful opportunities to make time for God, especially during Holy Week and this wonderful, wonderful event of resurrection that we will look forward to celebrating next week. We hope to see you there. We hope to see you there. Again, consider what happens when Christians meet. It's good. And consider what happens when Christians do not gather together. And know this: God desires your worship. Do you desire to worship God? God bless and take care.